What's going on, everybody? It's the Big Five plus the Netherlands that are rehearsing today for the very first time, and we just saw France take to the stage for the very first time. I have to say, this is very reminiscent of what we saw in the national selection.
Mhm.
Conceptually, it is the same idea with some tweaks. But Jess, tell me, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was very good and very striking performance. And I think they've kind of what they've done with the camera work and the lighting is very effective for this song.
Absolutely.
Because the song itself is a very kind of simple and stripped back song. So there's not too much in terms of staging that can really be done with this. So what they have done, I think, is quite clever in kind of making a simple song seem not so simple, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because we see Barbara just kind of standing there in the middle of the stage with a stand mic, but then you've got all of these kind of the staging is quite dark with the colors and with her outfit, but then we have kind of these flashes of kind of white, bright lights coming in, which kind of, make it seem almost kind of maybe slightly mysterious or a bit atmospheric, perhaps. And then towards the end of the song, the cameraman kind of goes a bit crazy and is kind of, I'm not quite sure how I would describe it. He's almost kind of like shaking the camera as the speed is picking up in the song.
Yeah, well, so I'll kind of do my best to describe that part. It's a wide-angle lens, so they can get closer to her, and you get a sense of that at the very end when she has her arms stretched out. I'm curious about whether or not it's an effect because usually they would have this kind of shot on a Steadicam, but it's given the effect of it being handheld, but not in a way that's like really disorienting. And also having that wide angle makes any kind of subtle movements of that not as noticeable. But it adds to the atmosphere because obviously this is the moment of the song where things are speeding up, and this is exactly what we saw in the national selection. I would say in terms of the actual movement of the camera operator, it seemed to me to be excuse me, it seemed to be a little bit less than what we saw in the national selection. But that is something that can obviously change because it really just comes down to how much the camera operator is moving and how much they're being directed to move. But I have to say it's effective. Vocally speaking, as we expected, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the fact that if you've seen any other performances of this, any other live performances, she improvises, which is not something
Yeah.
that we see from a lot of performers. It reminds me of the fact that Salvador Sobral was one of the performers to do that, where he'd be hitting different notes every time, and it always sounded great. So I want to know, this is considered a favorite to win still. What are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts about it?
So I personally don't see this as a winner. Um, I can understand how and why people would get this kind of feeling or this thought of winning, but for me, it's just kind of lacking something that is kind of preventing it from being a winner in my eyes.
Mm.
It's good, but it's not kind of great, and I think it's got a lot of kind of strong competition up against it that's potentially going to harm its chances. But even though I don't see it as a winner, I do see this doing very well and possibly maybe just making the top 10.
Hmm. For me, I think my thoughts are pretty much the same as they were before, which is that I think this is a very high quality, high quality entry. It's done in I think the most perfect way. The drawback still for me is the fact that it is so French. It's a word
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people who don't speak French know, and that perhaps might be a little bit of a turnoff. But it's authentic. It's sung excellently. It's in terms of images, it's everything that it needs, and I just feel like they're doing all the right things. But again, this is such a competitive year. So it is going to be a deciding factor. I think that at the very least, we can expect a top 5 in the jury placements.
Oh,
In fact,
yes.
this could potentially win the jury vote as far as I'm concerned.
I was thinking the same thing as well. But then I think the televoters will drag it down a little bit.
Let us know in the comments what you think about France. Is this one of your favorites, and do you see it as a potential winner? We'd love to know what you think, and we will see you next time when we're talking about some of the other rehearsals that we'll be seeing today, and we'd love for you to subscribe to Eurovox so you can catch some of our interviews and join in some of the live discussions. But until then, we'll see you.
Bye.